Hey my Shuga Bears, welcome back to my channel, Bougie AF. It's your host, Nicole. It's where I say stay bougie on them. It's me feeding you feminism for the soul. It's my soul food offering. It's where I apply pressure to issues by being critical and logical. Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get to the commentary where I can guarantee you I will be doing too much because that's just me. And like Sheree said, who's gonna check me, boo? Welcome black y'all, you are tuned in to the Bougie AF channel. This is your girl Nicole, where I say stay bougie on them, and I'm serving you feminism for the soul. So check me out on them people's Instagram at BougieAF_ish, also on Twitter at I'm_bougie_AF. So yes y'all, I have been taking a break, started a new job, so I've been fully concentrating on that and learning that new stuff. So that, that has been taking my attention, but I have been salivating and waiting and couldn't wait to start talking about some of these topics that is going on in the news, on the social medias, that is on the Clubhouse, and all of that juicy stuff. So we are most definitely back. So one of the things I want to talk about is not necessarily, I feel like it's like, it's so much stuff in one, and it will most definitely hit some conversations that I've listened to on Clubhouse. And just recently, it just seems like I'm around a lot of people, or society in general, are identifying a lot of things in terms of like behavior, mental health, just things like behavior, mental health, any type of disabilities that you may have, like learning disabilities. Like there's a lot of focus on that lately. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm most definitely not saying that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I do think a problem is happening is that we have a lot of pseudo doctors, or we have just doctors that are just irresponsible, immature, and just playing into trying to create brands based on social media. So they are okay with going with I want to make sure I'm saying what I'm expressing myself right. Seems like the doctors that are online, or people who may, be psychiatrists or social workers or any of that, it does feel as if, though, and this may have to be something I'm correcting from my previous view on something, but it may feel that some people are letting social media and wanting to create a brand behind their name, and what their specialty is, that they are actually not behaving in a disciplined type of way that would be true to their teaching and true to what they know in terms of like how you apply certain diagnoses or certain things to people, right? So I'll hear certain conversations on Clubhouse, and people will say this person has this, something's wrong with this person that, and then all of a sudden impromptu, like you're watching like The View or something like that, where if you watch The View, there's like a lawyer that's on deck, there's different people who cover the gamut of having different type of experiences. So you'll be on Clubhouse and someone will say some real, like, generalize somebody, or use a mental health or some type of disability to kind of frame someone in a certain type of light. And then they will say what they're saying, and then someone will chime in, and this person will have a background in like either social work, or they'll be a therapist, or they'll be in school themselves going to, be a future like therapist or something like that. So I feel like people are not acting in a disciplined type of way. And I'm not one to tell you that you have to, you can't be yourself, or that you have to adhere to some type of professionalism in the way, in terms of like how you decide to show up for Clubhouse. Now, if you want to be ratchet, if you want to swear, if you want to get shit off, if you want to talk loud, if you want to do all the things that you do in your home with your good girlfriends, then I'm all here for that. But you lose me when you try to intertwine it with your profession and the guidelines and what that stipulates, right? When you try to be a part of the cool kid and you try to lean on what you professionally do, and you just know that this is not a situation that you would, you wouldn't be diagnosing or evaluating someone in a Clubhouse sphere or off of gossip, right? So I think that's what disturbs me, because a lot of people believe that they can tell somebody what they are and who they are and diagnose them, or just not like somebody and just feel as like, well, there's something has to be wrong with them, it's not me, or just feel as if though, oh, they're just, oh, like, why is she like that, or why is he like that? Oh, I know it has to be this and this and that. There's a lot of that going on. So I was in a room and it just feels like, nowadays the new Birkin bag is people just like, oh, I have ADHD. Like it's so like cool and accepted. Like, so I just let it be known like what it is. And I'm still sitting here like, I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. When I'm sitting in Clubhouse and you're in these rooms and you're hosting rooms, I don't know what you mean when you say you have ADHD. And I'm going to be completely, that I'm clear. I know it's going to go over people's head. I accept anything that people accept from themselves. If you have went through evaluating yourself, your behavior and your needs and stuff like that, and you've come to the conclusion for yourself that you are either on the spectrum, you have ADHD, or you have autism, if that's what you've come to, I accept it, and I'm not challenging you on that, right? When I say that I don't know what that is, I have not been able to hear a consistent across the board meaning of what that looks like, right? For then people, right? And people who don't have it, right? To then go around and tell other people what the fuck they have. And so I'm always sitting there like, so how does that show up? Like, what does that look like, right? And then I listen to a lot of conversations. And like I said, Clubhouse for me is really about the listening, because I get an understanding of like what people are taking to try to define what ADHD. I'm not talking about the professionals. I'm just talking about random people, or what's ADHD, what spectrum, what's all of, if you're on the spectrum or if you're neurodiverse. Like I'm taking all of that in to see like what are people considering or what are people not liking, because that's basically what the fuck it is. Let's be completely honest, right? What are people not liking about somebody that they then want to extrapolate that from them as, even if it's a part of their personality, their quirk or whatever, to just be like, oh no, something's wrong. This is it. Like, and so while I'm listening to all this conversation, I think what I do know about some people who do have ADHD, that they do suffer from some impulsiveness. I've just literally seen people try to use I don't know how people communicate, and everybody communicates differently. And I know sometimes when you're like going back and forth with somebody and you're having a conversation, I have been in conversations with people and they've cut me off. So I just don't know how that means that someone's impulsive. Like that's part of the definition of, oh, look at that impulsive, they won't let me finish type of thing. And it's sort of like, no, I don't think just because they have a little rudeness or they maybe got excited or they jumped the gun or whatever, that is full diagnosis of them being impulsive, right? I just don't. But I think it's weird enough though that people will sit in a Clubhouse room and listen to certain mods who cannot let people speak, who cannot let people finish what they're saying without interjecting. And there's not that same labeling of impulsiveness, because they cut people off all the time or they have to respond after everyone speaks. And so that's why I say, I don't know what the fuck it is. Like, I just literally don't know what anything is anymore, because of how people are trying to apply it in real life and not having the real training to be able to apply things. And it infuriates me, because like, even, being, this, dope ass black girl that I am, like there's certain quirks in my personality that come out at different times, right? And so lately I've been around a lot of people who want to bring up ADHD. Like I said, if you accept it for yourself, I think that's super dope. I just don't think that you can go around just telling people that they have things and that you barely know them, right? You've barely been around them. Yeah, and it's just interesting though, and I see this so much within our community that people will have the least amount of access to you, have least amount of conversations with you, been around you the least amount, and they will come up with all types of shit of trying to say what you're like, and I'm like, really? That's what I'm like? What over you seen all that over with music and drinking going on? Like, I'm confused. So it's really important that you really kind of you really analyze like what's being said to you and what's realistic, that this person would even have the would have had the opportunity to even see any of those things with you, right? Because there's just some people in my life I can tell you that if they listen to my video, listen to give my thoughts and opinions on different things, and I've said this plenty of times, or seen me, or actually had a conversation with me about things, they are really surprised because they don't get that. And I don't make no apologies. Like, everybody is not able to have certain types of conversations, and that to me is like meeting people where they're at, right? How do, like, if we come together and we bond over it, like let's say it is gossiping about the shit on the Facebook, or the shit that's in social media, I guess, the shit that's public that people want people to know, right? Because if you put in things out there publicly, you want people to know. But if, let's say, we are chit chatting, going back and forth and talking about all the mess and stuff like that, you won't know how I'm really well versed in history. Like, that's not where we connected, right? And I would seem as though a know-it-all, a show off, if I started bringing up a whole bunch of different things that I know for sure that you don't know anything about. Right? I think that's in terms like, now that person is showing off, right? And so that's why I say to people, you sure that I wasn't meeting you where you were? Like, you know what I'm saying? And not in terms of like trying to hide my views on like immigration, politics, and all this other stuff. Because if it never came up, then there's nothing, like, if it never came up, it never came up, right? And if you didn't ask, that's not someone trying to hide something. You have to understand that maybe like you in real life, you don't follow those type of things, right? And so I also find it really important for me not to kind of project or project my interest on other people that may not be interested in that. So if we connect over certain things, and maybe we can, like, I've told you guys before, like, I've had certain friends where I've only seen them like in the club type of situations and going out and stuff like that. And over time, I've learned more about them, when different things came up, right? So, some people you don't have that opportunity with to do. Right. So I don't know. That's been heavy on my mind because, like I said, I am tired of this conversation about, who's on the spectrum and who's autistic. And granted, I do believe in the diagnosis for those things by the professionals, the people with the background. I do believe in them when it's done correctly, but I do not believe in people just thinking that they can just go ahead and label people, and they have a limited understanding themselves. They ain't left the radius and of their hoods. They don't encounter different types of people. They are around the same people who have normalized certain type of dysfunction, so they think that is normal. So, yeah, I'm being cheeky when I say all of this, but I say that like you really have to pay attention, because I'm gonna be completely honest with you. There's a lot of niggas that I know in like my real life. Gotta make sure I'm in my real life that want to tell me so much or have all these thoughts and opinions about me, and I'm just like, how? We've never spoken like that. We've never spoken like that. How? You were always drinking. Like, help me understand. What the fuck were we supposed to be talking about over this music? Right? So, when sometimes people like are really trying to like even like bring you down or try to attack your character, they just go at the things that they do not understand, and that's fine. But baby, if I flip that around, I'm gonna go after the things I clearly understand. No apologies. With no apologies. We have this way of thinking that we want all the tolerance in the world. Sometimes as Black people, but we do not know how to give it to each other. We want to label. We want to say all this other stuff. We want to go back 20, 30 years to find out what happened to them or why you did what the fuck you did. You know what I'm saying? Now you want to manage my response to what the fuck you did. So now all of a sudden we got to go figure out the root to the stem or the tree to what my issues is. Oh, baby. Like, the mindfuck that happens in society nowadays is crazy. I just recently had a conversation with somebody, and I hate when someone tries to play on my intelligence, and this person really did. Like, if I'm talking to you and you keep on making comments, right, that's referring to situations that you may know of, because all of a sudden, the men have all the gossip. Like, we need to be clear about that. The men have all the gossip. So, and you talking about, haters or why everybody. I think this person literally was talking like, I'm trying to be discreet. But it is what it is. I don't really mention names. I'll mention situations that I'm in, situations that I've gone through. And if I'm talking shit about somebody, it's because of a situation. So this person was like, oh, why all these people, like, have a problem with you, or why they hate you, and blah, 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 blah. Now, I said, I don't know. I said, you would literally have to ask them or something like that. Now, this person asked me a question, and I went to go answer the question. Now, I said to this person, I don't know, you have to go ask them, because every time I seen these people, it was all nothing but love. Hey, how you doing? And, oh, girl, nice to see you type of shit, fake love. And that's okay, because I'm not somebody that's in any illusion of like what my relationships are or have been with people, right? I meet you, I see you, we say hi, we peace out. It's nothing more, nothing less. And every time I see you, that should just be what it is, because that's what it's always been, if that makes sense, right? If I've always just casually seen you and we just shot the shit a little bit to catch up a little bit, like, oh, how you doing? I'm good. Everything's good with you. Then that's what I expect it to be every time I see you. I don't expect that one morning, because some people who made up some issue with me, that you now have an issue based off other motherfuckers' issues, and now you up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Facebook and you talking shit about me. So when I have somebody who's in my face like, oh, why this person has a problem with you, I don't know. You would have to go ask that person. Now, I tell you this story because then this person tried to flip it and gaslight me and was like, what did this person say? Why do you care so much? Whoa, 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 whoa. And I felt like, and I went there where this person went back and forth, and I raised my voice. And granted, we always joke and raise our voice and talk to each other. So I hope he didn't take that personal, but it is what it is. But I end up saying to this person, don't ask me no shit and then try to flip it and gaslight me. I said, I'm way too intelligent for that. Like, really, I know that shit works on other people where you're like the smartest person. Like, don't do that to me. You ask me a question and I'm answering it for you, right? And I have a problem with that. Don't bring something up or don't ask me something and then I go to answer it and then you're trying to psychoanalyze me as someone who's internalized her different situations that she's gone through. Because if that's the case, then we've all internalized our situations that we've gone through. If you're out here with a book and you've given your testimony, I guess you've internalized everything that you went through to put it in your book. I guess if you're singing about certain experiences that you've went through in life with different types of people, I guess you're internalizing what you've been through. I guess if you're on Clubhouse and you're holding rooms about topics and things that you've been affected by, I guess you've internalized the things that you've went through, right? You see how that works, right? So that's what I'm saying. We have a level of people who just really don't understand what the fuck they're talking about, that are always going around trying to sound so very just like high level, informed, and educated, when a lot of times people are just listening to how other people speak and trying to pick that up, but don't really have the full context of like what words mean and how to use them and stuff like that. And it really shows. It really shows, like, right? So, cause my whole thing is I'm going to always ask people, like, what do you mean? Or ask people to explain themselves so I'm not confused about, like, where they're coming from. But more or less, also what I am finding is that sometimes people cannot speak to the things that they believe or the things that they think, right? That's how much information in terms of, like, a lot of times of what people believe, especially, like I said, I'm always talking Black, but especially in my community, a lot of this is hand down knowledge. People get stories or your family tells you things. A lot of times it's that, right? So when you start to ask people like why they believe what they believe, you're going to get, people are going to struggle with that. And so that's why for me, sometimes people may not like my personality, because I'm just not going to just take you on face value, or I'm not just going to let you just tell me something that just does not make sense, that I may have the other piece to either push back or challenge you on what you're talking about, or what you're trying to say, right? And so I think sometimes people want to be ignorant. Not gonna say people want to be right so bad, and people are really want to make sure they come across a certain way. So when you start to bring light to that, maybe that this person is not as on point as they think they are, you're a problem for them. You're problematic, right? And we see that a lot, especially with like these pop-up religious groups and and religions that have been created. Anybody who is a part of a church or who goes against the grain or who calls out pastors for their behavior or want to hold people accountable, and you see it a lot in the church. Oh, that person's problematic. They can't come back no more, and we need not to associate ourselves with that type of person. That person is low vibrational. There's certain language you're going to start to hear. The devil sent them. The enemy sent them. They are a witch. They hate men. And I'm saying these things because I've heard all of these things try to be referred to me, and it's sort of like, I hate men. When I say that, because I try to hold a couple of niggas accountable for what they did to me. Also, now all of a sudden I hate men. All because I want to advocate and for the progression of women in society against patriarchy. Now all of a sudden I hate men, right? Because to want our growth and to push for things that protect us means to hate. Where did that come from? Where did that mindset come from? Why is it not looked at as if though the better that the women do, the better that the community does, right? Especially talking about the Black community, it's all needed, right? We have nobody to spare within our community in terms of like what it takes to get ahead. Nobody to spare. And that comes to even like trying to separate or, isolate the gay community within the Black community. Anybody got time for that? White supremacy and its effect on Black people is across the board. Women, children, the gays, it's across the board. So I don't have time and energy for rhetoric that is separatism, that does not talk about everybody should be able to be successful, and everybody should be protected under Blackness. There's no one above the other, right? And if you're not talking in that type of way, I promise you I can't hear you. I can't hear you. All right, so I'm gonna get off my soapbox and y'all know what we here for. We are here for the Instagram scroll. So let me go ahead and do that, because I'm gonna get back into that conversation, because like I said, this whole on the spectrum and all this other neurodiverse, like the other part that I will add in, because I was in the room and I was listening to this girl, and I think she was saying that she was on the spectrum and something like that. And she just talked about, my brain just thinks differently or process information differently. And that threw me off, because I've not known that all of our brains were supposed to operate the same way. Right? And just to see in society, like how some of these kids cannot critically think or cannot analyze information, or cannot just even think on their feet without, probably something already being told to them. Like, all of this is happening in society. And to hear that there's this weird understanding that they were supposed to all think alike. And I don't know how do you come up with the next geniuses, the next chemist, the next Katherine Johnson, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you come up with these next amazing future that we need in people in the future, with trying to say that somehow, some way, that we're under impression that all of our brains are supposed to act or behave the same way. That's just weird. That's weird to me. But that's the lack of tolerance sometimes within our community that that is unbearable, right? And that's why some people do turn their back. That's why some people do find refuge in other communities that are more accepting to people who don't adhere to certain who don't adhere to the degeneracy, who don't adhere to pop culture way of, especially in the Black community, of how you're supposed to behave and what you're supposed to think like and how you're supposed to move and what their own code looks like, right? That's why some people turn their back, because you too busy trying to place a label on me because you think I'm different. You too busy trying to diagnose me because I don't want to think the same way you do? Or can we not both be Black girl magic, because you think how you think and you shine how you shine, and I think how I think and I shine how I shine? And that's ultimately one of our biggest problems in our community, right? We cannot accept other people doing better than us or having more around us. We demonize that, or we try to, we just seen P&B Rock just got killed by a father and son. What the fuck was he teaching his son? To be a hater? To take what you want? And just to hear people say, well, he shouldn't have been wearing that. And that's sad, Because what that essentially means, if you're doing better than people, or if you can't go around them, and that's just where we're at. And I accept it. I'm not someone here who's going. I accept it. I accept it. If you drive a car, if you wear nice clothes, if you if whatever it is. And I've been through this a lot with hanging out with people who may make less than me and stuff like that. Oh, they're upset. I mean, one girl, she was mad because I spent $70 at the time. I think I spent $70 on my hair or something, some shit like that. I spent my money, and she thought I was, too over the top. Right? But when you hanging out, or if you hang around with people who do have less, and this is not a bragging thing, because I don't brag, because one thing about me, one thing for sure, two things for certain, you can ask anybody. I don't talk money. I don't talk any of that shit. I think it's tacky. I don't have enough to talk about. I know what real money looks like, and I don't have it. And I've said this before, right? So I'm never some braggadocious type of person. But you mean you such a basic ass bitch that I can't even mention, oh, if we're going out this weekend, yeah, I need to go by the mall and grab me something. I have no kids, right? So I do have that luxury, but I can't even mention that. I've gotten to the place in life, like, I won't even go clothes shopping or go to stores with like homegirls and friends and stuff like that. Because it's just so bad that people will watch you and feel some sort of way. I mean, one time I went to go get my nails done, and with a friend, and she went to go get her nails done. This is the drunk, right? Because this is how I'm going to handle. This is how I'm going to tell my story. So I think I ended up spending, was it 100? No, I think it was $70 on my nails, and she just got a refill or something what she needed, right? And I remember one time she was like, "Oh, spending $70 on your nail," and she like threw it up in my face. Like what type of home training do people have? Like, that's weird. Or you'll get around people that feel like, "Oh, you got enough. You doing too much. You greedy." Like, what are you talking about? If I apply myself, how am I greedy? And I'm not even like, what? Aren't we all supposed to be out here being greedy and trying to get to the bag or make money and stuff like that? I don't even want to say get to the bag. But you'll have people who will sit back and be clocking what you do, right? And there's this gentleman by the name, if you're on them YouTube streams, then you know there've been a whole lot of stories about this guy named Duke the Jeweler. Duke the Jeweler is out of them people Chicago. Somehow he went to go visit folks in Houston, and rest in peace to Duke the Jeweler. And all we know is that he had $1 million worth of jewelry probably on him in his bags, and had some money, and there was a dice game, and between the dice game and him coming back to Chicago, he ain't never made it back to Chicago, and he ain't got no beef out here. He's a regular citizen. That I done looked into it. Regular citizen, ain't into no street shit. He was just around niggas. Oh, y'all don't want to talk about it. I know y'all don't. This man is gone. This man is gone. And we don't want to talk about the fact that we will eat our own. And that's why some people be pissed at me. That man didn't make it home from just being around people. Right? And them seeing what he got. Just watch who you be around and what their conversations like. I think I had this conversation with my brother the other day. We were saying how, like, never be around somebody who's just mad about how somebody else is living their life. I think that's most definitely a telltale. I think that's a red flag. What else is a red flag? When someone just constantly has problems with people who either look better than them, dress better than them, stuff like that. That's also most definitely a red flag. Yeah, just someone who's always like trying to keep up with somebody that's not trying to keep up with them, or who's just living their life, right? I think, that's just weird. That's just weird. So I say those are red flags. I don't know what to say that could have saved Duke the Jeweler. Clearly, he felt comfortable with going down and being around certain individuals within the rap community. Yeah, and clearly. Yeah, clearly he felt comfortable being around people, because if you go look into the story, he was meeting with somebody, he was sitting with somebody, then he was walking to his car. So somehow, some way, a message had to be sent that man was walking to his car. There's just no getting there, and he was by himself, or whatever, him and his girlfriend, or whatever. Something had to be communicated. Like, there's just no fucking way a random or people were able to clock him, a visitor from out of town, that way. right? And so people want us to say, like, people want to play dumb, like they don't know. And that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. I think I will say this one last thing before I move into the my Instagram scroll, is that I believe we give too much acceptance to folks being a hater. I tell you this all the time. One of the girls who I was hanging out the drunk, she was a hater. And every time that I caught her being a hater, I told her, like, why are you doing that? Like, why that matter? I tell you, and I will always tell this. I will always tell these stories. People can be mad to the blue in the face. I'm going to always do it. Because there's no understanding without any communication. I don't understand without being communicated with. Don't let that go over your head. So we would be at this after party. I think I did tell this before. I'll just tell real quick. But we would be at this after party, and there was this girl. I just recently just tell this story. And she would just be like, oh, why is she dressed like that? Why is she doing too much? And I immediately felt uncomfortable because it was like, she looked good to me. She got people at her house. She's entertaining. She looks cute. Like, what's the problem? I don't give a fuck if I feel like we're in a prom dress to the fucking bar. That's how the fuck I felt that day, bitch. Like, what you uncomfortable about what I'm doing? And I don't understand that. Cause what you do don't move nothing about me, right? So it immediately made me feel uncomfortable because there was things that had previously happened, and so when I would hear her make like little comments like that, I'd be like, damn, you a hater. I said, and I remember because she kept talking about this woman, and I remember saying that we need to go. Like, I don't want to be here while you talking about this woman in her house, and she's been nothing but nice to me. These cheeseburgers are busting. So I'm confused on why we here if you have all these feelings about this woman. Now, she had no personal dealings with this woman. This woman had never been mean to her. This woman had never did anything to her. But I believe this bitch was a setup bitch, to be completely honest, because I believe she wanted me to say something about her. Woman never did anything to her. I never went back to that woman's house again. Never went back because I be like, I asked her, I was like, what's your problem? Like, what she do? Oh, I heard from, niggas in the hood. And then that's when I really put into full context picture of what I had been through previously with her, and feeling though, as though, not even feelings though, the DJ nigga, y'all think I'm not. The DJ nigga said, you don't think your cousin get drunk and tell me what y'all say. So it had put in full context because you keep having conversations behind women's back with all these men. It wasn't just one example. It wasn't just two examples. At this point, it's not even just three examples, right? So, like I said, there are these red flags you do have to pay attention to. How somebody talks about somebody else that they don't know, don't have any real issues with. Yeah, that should be the number one. That should be the number one. You just don't like somebody because of what? The way someone dresses, the way they carry themselves, the way they do them, that other people have no problem with, whether or not they talking shit behind your back, but in your face they show you nothing but love. I'll take that talking shit behind my back because I ain't clicking up with you. I ain't trying to extend this no further than what it is. And what it is what you show me in my fucking face. Straight like that. All right, y'all. I got a little... Whew. That took me there, y'all, because I can't stand a crab in the barrel mentality. I can't stand the sickness in the way that we think about things and how we handle each other. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And it's sad as fuck. It is so sad, y'all. It is so sad. I remember there's this story. You got the P&B Rock. What else story do we have out there that, the Duke, the jeweler I just told you about? And I remember even outside of celebrities, there's this girl out of Baltimore. And I'm not going to pull it up right now, but y'all can do y'all Googles, right? If I bring it up, I'm 100% okay with knowing that it can be Googled and you can figure it the fuck out if I do not state some statistics or a book that I have read. I've read enough, okay? When I don't make sense, call that the fuck out. A lot of y'all done read all the fucking books, and you can't, you ain't cleverly disguising nothing, and I ain't not being able to follow. So like, what the fuck y'all really saying? Y'all say that to try to come across a certain type of elitist or to make people feel as if though they're not up to your standards in forms of their formal education. Oh, blah blah blah. Kiss my ass. When I say something that is incorrect, or if you're able to catch it up, catch it up. Until then, stop being a fucking hater. I don't give a fuck where you been or what you've done. There's this girl in Baltimore and she was shot dead. And from what I remember, the story around her being shot dead was that she had went into the hair business and she had opened up a boutique or a salon. I mean, a young girl. I think she was like 22, 23, and she was fucking killing it. Long story short, girls in her neighborhood, or the girls who, probably grew up around her in her same age bracket, or, in the same social circles, was hating and did not like her. Was hating and did not like it. And this weirdly comes where people think you're being greedy or you're doing too much or you like, come on. When it shot the girl. Yeah. Killed her. She was doing too good for them. Anybody but her. She don't deserve it. All of that. And that's the other thing. I promise you this is the last thing. Ain't a motherfucker in this world gonna tell me what I deserve when you niggas sit around and you promote and you hype up drug dealers and you big up the niggas in the hood that are killing people. You can't tell me shit. I don't need your approval. I know who the fuck, and I know what y'all approve of. I don't give a fuck if he sold drugs or 20, 30 years later and now all of a sudden it's okay to support him. Even though he did some destroying to the community, let me fuck out of here. Again, I don't need y'all niggas' approval. Blessings don't flow from y'all. The picking and choosing is crazy. Y'all are not consistent for me to give a fuck about what you think. And that's just how I see things. All right, so let's get into these. Let's get into the Instagram scroll. Y'all know how I do. I got some stories saved. All right, where did we want to go first? The girls are really, really fighting out here. Channing Crowder really needs to get a life. He's still talking about his man crush for Russell Wilson. Where else did we want to go? There's a lot of stuff that has happened. Let me see. What do I want to talk about? All right, so you know what? Let's go there. I want to talk about let me see, where does it start at? You know what? This story came out, so I'm going to go ahead and play this.
How I want her to look physically, I don't want her to come. Because the look of everything is so important to me. Like, if she ain't thick enough, no. Her not did good enough, no. Can't dress, no. Skinny, no. And it's like, I don't feel like I'm discriminating. I just want a certain type of look. She could be the sweetest girl I ever met in my life, but if she don't look the part, I don't want her to come. Like, that's just not the vibe I'm on. Now, she can come to the cookout, she can come to the listening party, but the club, I feel like, gotta look a certain way to come. She ain't a certain type of look. If she don't look how I want her to look physically, I don't want her to come. Because the look of everything is so important to me. Like, if she ain't thick enough, no. Her not did good enough, no. Can't dress, no.
All right, so that's Erica Banks and her thoughts and opinions about the females that she hangs out with and goes to the clubs with. I wish I could pull up the clip of Rico Nasty. She also talked about her friends and how she hangs. All of her friends are probably, she says, this is what she said, prettier than her. And she liked hanging out with really, gorgeous, girls. But she didn't put any, like, if you're not, you can't. Like, she didn't say anything like that. But I wish I had that to put up right now. It's so funny because Erica Banks, she is an okay looking girl. I think I think it takes a lot of, confidence to come out and say some shit like this. But I will say this. I had to really think about this because for me, I agree with Erica Banks and feeling as though why she may say what she's saying in terms of like No, because I think, okay, so this is how I feel about it, and then I'll get to Erica Banks. Me personally, I feel like I'm very comfortable with hanging out with people all over the gamut in terms of like what they look like and all this other stuff. Because I'm gonna do me, and hopefully you do you, and I'm not trying to compete with you in that type of way, right? Like I remember one time, like same drunk, she was like asking me what I was gonna wear, and I was like, "What, girl?" I was like, "We don't even dress the same," so I thought the question was weird. It's weird because I'm never wondering what the next bitch is wearing. That's not my thing. I'm gonna wear it in this closet or at the mall or when I order. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'ma do. I'ma do me, right? So I'm really never concerned. So I mean, I've heard from other people that like friends do be like, "Oh, what you gonna wear?" But cool. This person was a little different because when I tell you there's no similarity to how like we dress at fucking all, but that doesn't bother me. I'm well balanced. I've watched girlfriends all my life. Girlfriends don't come in one type of size, one type of package, one type of look, right? Like that's just like where did that come from, that everybody has to look the same and dress the same and stuff like that. But this is going to probably lead back to what I just finished talking about, the hater in people, right? So with that being said, I can see, for me personally, like stepping out and going to the club and looking a certain type of way, I now have to feel like we have to be on the same page and the same level when it comes to that, right? I think what ends up happening, that jealousy, envy does set in. People do start to feel some sort of way because then they start to feel as if though you're always trying to outdo them, even if that's just naturally your zhuzh. It's nothing to do with them, right? There are some people that are so ill-minded that they just think like you doing them is some weird competition that you're in with them. And it's sort of like, no, I don't operate from that space. And I'm sorry that you come from a dysfunctional place in society or in your environment that you think that somebody doing them who predates meeting you was this way, dressed this way, carried themselves this way, talked this way, that anything about them has anything to do with you. That they could be doing anything in their life in a way that is supposed to be somehow competing with you. That is ill-minded. That is sick. That is sick, right? So with that being said, because of my experiences, and women feeling some sort of way, and so that's why it was so funny when a girl on Clubhouse said I was dusty. I was like, how? And that's how I know people don't know what they fuck they talking about. Because at one point in time, I get my hair done every fucking week, right? Every 2 weeks, toes and nails now. Dusty who? Like what? I buy the best of stuff, and I shop at Walmart too. And the Amazon. I am not ashamed of any of that. But what are you talking about? I spend money. I'm learning how, I have to slow it the fuck down. But who we talking about? With that being said, when it comes to like putting yourself around certain people, I'm learning you can't put yourself around all types of people. Because your weakest link will be the bitch in the club who ain't as thick as you, ain't as fly as you, ain't getting as much attention as you. And the only way she know how to get in there is to be a fucking slime and be a hater. And to sit back and be watching everybody else and be, oh, she doing too much and da 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 da. Yeah, them type of bitches, right? You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I'm not saying that for me that it would be based on you would have to look a certain way, you would have to dress a certain way, or you'd have to be a certain, well, dressing, yes, a height and all that other stuff. But I'm saying my reasoning for it is what my reasoning is for. And so she didn't get into her reasoning. It may not be as deep as mine. It seems more for the look because she's an artist, right? So she wants to be seen with a certain type of caliber of women. And so, like I said, I don't know, I'm coming around to what she's saying. I'm coming around to what she's saying. And the only reason I'm coming around to what she's saying, because a lot of men operate this way in terms of like the women they'll let around them. Chris Brown won't let brown skinned girls in his VIP section. He don't like the look, right? These men, when they go do their videos and they pick out their video girls, they go for a certain look that they want around them, right? Shout out to Malika Andrews. I think this is a good point to bring her up. She's a fair skinned, pretty girl. light skin, curly hair, straight hair, just, you know, the preferences. And the black man on the ESPN has a problem with the Malika Andrews. And I don't have a problem with the Malika Andrews. I think she's God sent, right? She is appealing to the men, and even when it comes to work nowadays, like even you see weird shit on Clubhouse where they want a certain woman that looks a certain way, and it's like a PTR, and I refuse to play into it. And that's the reason why I don't change my PTR to a whole bunch of different pictures and shit like that. I don't want to play into it. Not for Clubhouse. Not for Clubhouse. I just don't. I don't want to play into it. Like I ain't seen nothing come through on Clubhouse that I feel like I need to play into that. Dusty ass niggas judging females. Like, that's weird that even females even allow that to be even a part of the ethos, and these niggas don't even really be looking like nothing. But men do it to the point that I'm like, she's brought me around to what she believes now, and I can understand it because again, it's like we're on an audio app, so like what the fuck I look like has to do with anything? I'm confused. And that's why, because I'm too, like, I want to be respected for being intelligent as much as I know I'm beautiful. Because the attention tells me that. The attention I get in real fucking life tells me that. Right? So, with that being said, why do I need to get on a social audio app? An audio, my voice. Why do I need to get on an audio app and play into beauty standards, right? Why is any woman allowing themselves to play in this? But like I said, that's why some of these weird old feminists I can't vibe with, because there's just certain things that you'll participate and be a part of that does not make sense into what you say you believe in. Because any woman who says that they are a feminist, or any woman who says they advocate for the protection of women and our growth, and there's just no way you would play into that bullshit on a social media audio app. And that's, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep on saying social media audio app. Not the YouTube where you can see people, not the Instagram when you can see people, in audio app. Now back to Malika Andrews and why she's such a blessing. Now it's gotten so bad to the point where when it comes to who gets opportunities or who's rising in ranks, sometimes a lot of it will be the lesser talented, as we can see in hip hop, the lesser talented, the least experienced will rise up. And the only thing that they have is that a lot of time black men will vouch for them as them being cool. And so they get promoted and they get put in positions and stuff like that. They like them around. They're a good vibe for them because she appeals to him sexually, right? And as we see what's happening in Boston in terms of Ime Udoka, some people have a problem with being able to separate their sexual desires from their workplace. And I think there's no bigger example to how even society or patriarchy or, black men are requiring that a woman looks a certain way to even take up space or to be respected, right? So Malika Andrews is different because, I think she's married. She's a mixed woman, you can tell. And I believe she's married to a white man. So she at the ESPN doing her job. She's asking the questions and she's talking about the things that these black men hate her for. I've seen commentary from these men on YouTube, or even seeing some of the attitudes that the black men on the ESPN, and I'm a fan of all of them. I am a fan, so but I'm always going to give it up in my commentary. But seeing the attitude and the pushback she's getting from the black man in the NBA, and it's sort of like, that's what y'all get. That's what y'all get. And you're mad because this woman doesn't care about appealing to you guys. And she's not a sympathizer, right? I think Jalen Rose, who speaks about black issues, is just now divorcing the Molly girl, the white woman, right? And I also wanted to bring that up because I'm on Clubhouse and there's all this conversation about if you decide to divest and if you decide to date outside of your community, you shouldn't speak on your community. But I have, for over 20, 30 years, have sat and listened to a lot of black men who have dated out their community, who have tons of opinions on the black community and black women. The men that rap about us and talk about us disparagingly, all types of bitches and hoes and all this other shit. That's talking about the black community. But that goes back to that picking and choosing that y'all don't want to acknowledge that it's happening, right? Bullshit. All right. So let's get back to Erica Banks. But I just really wanted to shout out Malika Andrews. Go, girl. Oops, looks like someone in Erica Banks' close friends wasn't feeling her list of physical requirements for clubbing with friends and leaked her little rant. Thoughts? Ooh. So somebody linked that. Man, what comes as you are. I'll be the look for my gang, and if they ain't right, I'ma hip them. Get there, and until they oh guys, it's hard reading people's writing. Shit, it's hard reading mine too. Until they get there, nobody but not say none, or we gonna have a problem. So oh, okay. So she's saying like, come as you are, and says she's the look for her crew. Like if she's that bitch, she's the look, right? And I guess she's saying like they don't gotta worry about that, right? Um, and if they not right, she's saying that if they don't look right and shit ain't right, she gonna help them and point them in the right direction, and until they are up to they step it up. Um, nobody better not say nothing to them or she's gonna have problems. So she said, I'm gonna ride for my friends and I'm gonna let them know if something's not right for them, and but you better still not say nothing. Okay. Ooh, that was a lot to interpret. Oh wow. Well, look, ladies, let me tell you this, and it ain't hard to look like her, especially if you want to look like a fool in the morning using a filter, explaining to your close friends that you're a weirdo. Yeah, I don't mind me laugh out loud. This is what I would have told my three daughters just in case this happened with curse words, and of course, bye. She still gives me crusty. I don't think you say this out loud. I think you have your experiences like I have, and then you come to your conclusions and you walk in there, like, right? I don't think you go around and tell people or your friends that, oh, y'all need to step it up and blah, 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 blah. Nah, if you, like, I feel like, I've always operate. Certain people I am going to go to certain places with, and then certain people I'm going to go other places with. But I will say, like, even like if it's like going to the bar, and the girls that I would go to the bar with, they would dress a certain way. But then there would be the girls I would go out to the club with, and they would dress a certain way. So there was no need to even tell them how to, like, they knew what to do. They knew the assignment. Everybody knew the assignment for them for appropriately for the places that we were going. Now the bar girls, I ain't never really clubbed with them all like that. So I never felt like I needed to, or they would have to dress a certain way. I don't think you should be imposing what you think or what you think style is and fashion is on other people. Like, that's not your place to do that. So I don't know. There's weird shit happening out here. Someone said that's why no one like her. So she's friends with them because of their physical features, not personality. Exactly. Like yeah, this comes across as though like, well, real friends over aesthetics any day. That's a fact. That's what you call discrimination. I understand if they can't dress or hair ain't done, but if you're a real one, you're gonna make sure your friends is stepping just like you. But to not hang out with somebody because of their body type is sad, and you'll never have real friends. Hopefully, she changed that mindset. Yeah, body type is weird. Like, why you care with their body type? Like I said, only thing because she should have added the context of like what happens between like the dynamics in that type of situation in terms of like people be having their insecurities and shit like that, and how that can manifest if someone always feels like they're the one not getting attention, right? And so, like I said, this girl was deranged in that type of way. Like, I'm doing me. It has nothing to do with I don't I'm so straightforward and looking forward. It has nothing to do with looking at you and what you're doing, right? So that's weird. Let's see. Who are you, please? She ain't a real friend. Too industry for me, babe. I hear that. That 24,257. Yeah, I don't understand like why she felt the need to say that. Like a lot of these girls who are celebrities, they have regular friends, and they don't. Their regular friends are barely even pictured or even talked about. So you don't really have to do this like and say this bullshit. So to be honest, anything else I can cover real quick? It's real quick, real quick. Anything real quick because I need to end this. Yeah, that Pastor Whitehead is really funny to me, y'all. I've been watching him more and more. That nigga is funny. But I think this is what society needed, this type of church, this type of man in the church to really illuminate some of the bullshit that goes on with it. So that's my honest opinion. I think this dope. New York governor announces that civilian cameras will be soon be in every New York subway. I mean, I think we really are moving to that. Like, it really sucks because I know if I've never been to the UK, but what I hear it is very. They have cameras everywhere, and so society is moving to that. To be honest with you, let me see. I wanted to talk about this real quick. No, I'll save it to talk about academics in just one video because yeah, I had a lot of opinions about the reaction that he got from people within the hip hop community when he referred to Reginae as a bitch. I'm not saying she's a bitch at all, but I just think it's really interesting how these men responded to that. Let's see, anything else? Anything else I can cover real quick? Mr. Vibes Cartel, he's engaged. You see his lovely soon-to-be wife. We'll end it here. Turned out to turn out to All right, so listen, there's of course there's some few artists in my lifetime that I wish I would have gotten to see before they passed away, and of course for me it's always going to be Whitney Houston, Prince, and Michael Jackson, right? Those are the top three people I wish, like, if I could bring back tomorrow to listen to them perform or see them in person, would be those ones. I will say, like, I've seen Kiki Wyatt perform in person in like real fucking life, and let me tell you that she's up there as like probably being a really amazing for being able to perform. And I seen her do that same thing that she just did, but she didn't go down like that. But her ability to be able to do that while singing, I don't think people understand like her vocal range, and for it to sound as strong as she sounds is so fucking amazing, right? This is a woman that's had 1,100 kids, and they say like you lose octaves and shit, like in range wise, in terms of like when you have all them kids, and it's like hers is getting better, y'all. Hers is getting better. Mariah Carey's Mariah Carey. She's a legend for everything she's accomplished, and her voice is also equal, is also amazing. But when it comes to hitting those notes and doing that run, uh, Kiki Wyatt for me. It's Kiki, inappropriate, say some really crazy shit sometimes, Wyatt for me. Okay, girl, because I never did that video on that time you said that shit, but we gonna let that shit go. We gonna sweep that under the carpet, right? We gonna move on, right? Like, you ain't out here saying some colorist shit, girl. So we gonna move past that. But we are always gonna be able to give credit where credit is due, and Kiki Wyatt is a beast, like, and she's super amazing. And I remember her just being really nice. She seems really fun. I loved her on R&B Divas, so that's why I was really disappointed when she was saying weird shit. I loved her on R&B Divas. I really love that show. I wish they would bring that back. Right, I really do wish that they would bring that back. It was one of my favorite shows. Who else is on that show that I love? Shantae Moore. I love Shantae Moore. Wish she would release more music. Kiki Wyatt was on there. Chrisette Michelle was on there. Kelly Price was on there. Was Little Mo on there? Little Mo was on there. Oh yeah, Little Mo was on there. I remember that. Yeah, there's a host of other people that were really on there, and it was just really, it was a really good show. Like, nobody got to fight. Selena Johnson was on there. Who else was on now? I can't think right now, but that's it. They should bring that show though back. Bring it back. Bring it back. What I want to see, like, I think I would want to see like a newer R&B divas. Like, I want that to bring them back. Like, okay, do another Atlanta one, but then also do another California one. But I want the California one to include like K Michelle, Maya. I think that'd be dope for her. I would love to see her. Who else? Who else? K Michelle, Maya, Keisha Cole. I'm trying to think of some of the other Fantasia. Who else? Who else would be on this show? And a Missy Elliott or something like that. But like, I really would like them to do that show over again because, like I said, it was really dope. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Y'all know how we do. We keep it bougie SF, black SF, posh SF, and y'all be black, y'all. And I am out.